Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 high-end eyeshadow palettes. These are my favorite palettes. I use them on a weekly basis, and I think that if you are going to splurge on an eyeshadow palette, these would be my recommendations. So the first palette I'm going to be talking about is the Lorac Pro Palette. This is the original. It looks like this, and I love this palette. It is one of my first palettes I ever bought. It just has a variety of neutral shades. You can create a ton of different looks with this. The top row is all mattes, and then the bottom row is all shimmers that correspond to the mattes. I think that these are great shadows. They have great pigmentation. They are super buttery. I think the formula is just amazing in this palette. I've had this one the longest and definitely used it the most out of the palettes I'm going to be talking about today. And I just think that this is one you should definitely pick up. There are just some of the finger swatches. As you can see, they are very pigmented, and I barely even had to touch into the shadow. This palette has a great variety of cool tone shades and warm tone shades, and the packaging is super slim, so I think it is great for traveling because you can just throw it into your makeup bag. It's super compact and thin, so it's easy to travel with, and it has a mirror. And these eyeshadows are also very beginner friendly because they blend out so easily. It takes very little work. Some eyeshadows you have to really blend with because they are a drier formula. These, however, are just super creamy and buttery and very easy to work with. My next favorite would have to be the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. This launched, I believe, about 2 years ago. And as you can see, it just has really great summer shades. I think that this is perfect for the spring and summertime because you have a lot of brighter and lighter colors that work great for just a wash of color all over the lid, or you have the deeper tones that you can really make a dramatic smoky look. I love using Peach Pit, which is right here, a nice deep purple. I love packing that all over the lid and then blending it out with some of the orange shades. It really just makes an interesting and unique look, but it's super dramatic at the same time. I think that Too Faced has a great formula. Once again, they are very creamy, and I know that this palette seems to have some mixed reviews, and I can see where people are a little maybe confused or upset because there are not a ton of peach shades in this palette. There are only maybe 4 or 5 that are really peachy. However, I think that the mix of colors is perfect because you get the shades that you would need to create a full look. So here are just a few swatches. As you can see, the pigmentation is very good. Once again, they are very easy to blend out and super creamy, and I have had no problems whatsoever with this palette. I think that this palette is very versatile because of the variety of shades. You can create a natural everyday look with some of the shades on this end of things, and you can also create a very deep and smoky nighttime look with these shades over here. So it is very versatile. I actually think that the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette is very similar in tone to the Tartelette and Bloom palette, which I also love. So as you can see, there are similarities with the deeper tones, and some of the shimmer shades are very comparable. So if you have one or the other, you don't necessarily need both. I actually just used the Tartelette and Bloom palette in a tutorial that I posted, and you can create a very similar look with the Sweet Peach palette. So if you are in the market for a nice warm tone palette, I would definitely pick this one up. Since we are on the topic of Too Faced, I might as well show you my next favorite, which is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. Now, this palette I've had for a very long time, and although it doesn't look like it, I have really made a dent in a lot of these shadows. I really love that this has a variety of neutral shades, and it has a lot of matte crease colors in it. I also love this shade at the bottom. I think that this is great for an all-over lid shade with just some color in the crease. I also think that this has great pigmentation. Some of the colors are a little bit drier than others, but I think overall the pigmentation and quality of these shadows is great. Similar to the Lorac Pro Palette, I use this one a lot during the daytime because it has a lot of neutrals and you can create a variety of looks without being too dramatic. My next palette is an all matte palette. This is the original Tartelette palette. As you can see, it has all matte shadows. This is a more cool tone palette, which I don't tend to use cool tone colors a lot, but some of the colors in here do have a more warm undertone, such as Best Friend, which is this shade right here. And some of the transition shades also have a warmer undertone, so you can create a variety of looks. I really love this one because on a day-to-day basis, I tend to just wear very minimal makeup, and I think this is great because it is unique, and I really love that this one is all matte. I think the formula of these is amazing. These are comparable to the Lorac formula. They are super buttery and creamy. I think that they are probably one of the best formulas on the market, in my opinion. Here are some of the shades, and what I love about this palette as well is that it has a black, and as you can see, the black is very pigmented. A lot of eyeshadow palettes do not include a black, which doesn't bother me, but I like that this one has a black because it is nice when you're trying to deepen up a look, maybe not necessarily even see the black color, but it really helps and takes it to the next level. Once again, this has very sleek packaging, and it is super easy to travel with since it is so small, so this is definitely one of my favorites. Last but certainly not least is the Masquerade palette by Juvia's Place. This palette definitely became one of my favorites very quickly. At first I was kind of unsure of how I was going to use it on an everyday basis because the shades did seem a little bit dark, but you can really get a variety of looks. I love that it has these 2 rows of bold shades and also more wearable everyday shades. The pigmentation on these is incredible once again. They are super buttery, super smooth, and they have great color payoff. These shades have great pigmentation and color payoff. This is actually the palette that I have on my eyes today. I created a look with the bottom half of the palette, so I focused more on these 2 rows. I used this shade all over my lid, and then some of these tones to deepen up the crease, and I think that they are very easy to work with. They're very pigmented and great quality. This palette is also very affordable compared to some of the other palettes I mentioned today, but the pigmentation and quality is still just as great as the others. Okay guys, so that wraps up today's video. I really hope that you learned something or maybe found a recommendation to try out for your next eyeshadow palette. If you have any favorites that I did not mention, be sure to leave them in the comments section down below so that I can check them out for myself. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.